So something I've been thinking about quite a bit lately is this concept of suffering. And, maybe you've heard people talk about this, but more specifically, the concept of choosing your suffering. Now, for those of you who maybe haven't heard this concept before, it's really just sort of acknowledging or accepting that life, love it or hate it, is filled with pain and suffering, or maybe it's better to think of it as sort of discomfort. And so the concept sort of is to illustrate that no matter what you do, you're going to face suffering. So there's a lot of power in sort of choosing what suffering that you face. I'm out here at Lake Hefner here in Oklahoma City, so it's a beautiful day, no real suffering here today. This concept is really powerful because what it really does is brings to our awareness that if we can choose the path where we get to be in control of what that suffering looks like, we can oftentimes get closer to the things that we are really trying to accomplish or to live the life that we actually are striving to live. Because if you think about it, there's probably a lot of things in your life that you do to try to avoid discomfort. When I think about it for myself, some of the more obvious examples would maybe be trying to maintain physical fitness in my life. Some of you can probably relate to this. It's certainly easier to say, you know what, I don't want to be sore for the next several months till I get my body back into the proper conditioning through strength training. It's really going to be a whole lot easier to sit down and kind of relax tonight if I had a long day of work, not really have to think too much about what I'm eating to make sure that I'm helping to accomplish my goals. That's a whole lot easier, and you're avoiding the short-term suffering. But what you're really not thinking about in those circumstances is the long-term suffering of living a less healthy life, facing potentially more illness, shortening your life, and the quality of your life. Another classic example of this would be the job that you work. I mean, how many of you out there are working a job or have worked a job that you just absolutely hate, but you continue to stay there out of comfort? The thought of going out and looking for another job or learning a new skill or going back to school, all those things in front of you and that end goal are really not comfortable. They're full of suffering. So instead, we often end up staying at a job far too long that we do not enjoy, we do not find fulfilling, or that frankly oftentimes just makes us miserable. And so in an effort to avoid the suffering of going through the things we would need to get to a much better place occupationally, we just suffer a little bit every single day. Now, of course, many of you who have followed my channel for a while know that I help a lot of families in their relocation here to Oklahoma City. So I can't help but sort of see how this pans out in my work life in helping those folks and sort of seeing the power in their decision to choose what suffering they're willing to accept. A great example recently that actually made me think about this was some clients that I have been working with from Wyoming who have been kind of stuck in a cycle where they're continuing to kind of feel stuck in the jobs that they're in. The wife of this family works as a nurse, and there's not a whole lot of options in the city she lives in Wyoming, so she feels stuck at that pay rate and at that hospital. There's not a whole lot of room for opportunity for moving up. The husband feels the same in his industry, and frankly, their kids, they feel like aren't getting the proper education opportunities that they could get elsewhere. Now, the easy thing to do, and what a lot of people certainly do, is in an effort to avoid the short-term friction or suffering or discomfort, they just kind of stay where they are. It's a whole lot easier to continue living the same life day to day that's frankly a little more comfortable, but the end result is you end up living potentially a less fulfilled life when you try to put off the discomfort of picking up your life and moving somewhere where you maybe have more job opportunities or more opportunities for your children. All that to say, there really is no such thing as avoiding suffering. You got to choose the suffering, and oftentimes when you get to choose and take control of that, the suffering that you choose is actually the thing between you and the life that you want to live. So One of the things that I really admire a lot about this family, and really a lot of the families that I work with, is that they just kind of look that discomfort directly in the eye and decide, that's worth it for me. Those opportunities that are in between myself and oftentimes this high level of discomfort is worth going through to get to a much better place. And so what does that mean for this particular family? Well, there's a whole lot more opportunities in healthcare for the wife. The husband has found an amazing job out here with a lot more opportunities here in Oklahoma City than there was in that town in Wyoming. And perhaps more importantly for this family, they found there are way more opportunities for their kids in the school system in the area that they chose to live. So maybe ask yourself, what is the suffering or discomfort between you and a life you want to live? And guys, as always, until next time, I certainly hope to okay. See you soon. See ya.